A crime fighter has his guard up. Here's your look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, the Batman's Future and Batman Beyond. Terry Mcginnis was just an ordinary teenager until his father was mysteriously killed. Suspecting foul play, Terry meets an older, bitter Bruce Wayne and learns the secret hidden for decades. When Bruce refuses to help, Terry steals and dons a high-tech, tricked-out batsuit in a quest to avenge his father's death as Batman. About to look at Batman, but before we do, how about we first figure out how tall the figure stands. I'm going to grab my trusty ruler and put it right to the very top of Batman Beyond's head. The figure stands at about 7¼ inches in height, or just about 18½ centimeters tall. Reviewing a Batman figure is certainly not my first rodeo, and reviewing a Batman Beyond figure from DC Multiverse, certainly this isn't the first time we've done that either. I'm going to move over the Batman Beyond figure that we get from this wave. I'm going to bring in the original Batman Beyond. Now already, you can already see, provided I get the legs to straighten out there, it doesn't look like they haven't changed really all that much between the two figures. I think also at the time that the original Batman Beyond came out, the one that's on the left right now, there was also a masked version, an alternate variant version that I never ended up picking up. And in fact, I think even in that review, I said I wasn't sure if I was really interested to get another Batman Beyond if it didn't have the visible mouth. Sure enough, I think if just waiting the time doing it, they eventually did release a Batman Beyond, but I think it's the same figure that we got before, other than the fact that this one does have the Batman Futures and Build-A-Figure pieces that we'll have a look at. For the figure's accessories, Batman Beyond comes included with a trading card. Once again, McFarlane's team has decided to use photos of the figures. Figures pluralizing because in a strange occurrence here, we actually have two figures presented here on the front of the card instead of just the one. The far right, the Batman Beyond we're about to have a look at. And down in the bottom left corner, a fully completed Futures End Batman that, of course, we will be completing over the next several videos. On the back of the card, the real name is Terry Mcginnis. I don't think many people call him Terrence. And then down below, there's a simple-to-read paragraph of just basically his backstory. Now, you can either pause the video right now and read it for yourself with a cup of cocoa, or it also happens to be the same read-up I did at the very beginning of this video as well. I'm going to put that to the side. The figure comes included also with a regular standing display stand, and why I had to put in that it's standing display stand is because he doesn't come included with a flight stand. Something I feel a bit disappointed by, the fact that they didn't decide to include one of those flight stands that we have seen before. This will at least give you the option of displaying him standing on a shelf, but if you're going to be having a character like Batman Beyond, you would probably want to be putting him in the air. It's not something that you can easily pull off with just a stand like this. Simple stand with the DC logo down below and one single peg at the top right-hand corner that's going to plug to the underside of Terry Mcginnis' feet. Next on to that, we'll have a look at the other thing that comes included with the figure. The more, I guess, appropriate thing, of course, if we're going to be building a figure over the next several videos, is the component piece needed for Futures End Batman. One thing I will have to say about this figure, when you're taking this guy out of the packaging, I lost these right away. These little ringlets sit inside the cavity, and then the arms are going to, of course, plug into either side of that. These don't really sit at all inside well. I mean, they're not even frictioned either, so if you take these out, take them out of the packaging, you even just tip it, these will fall right out. Double check your packaging and just make sure that you don't have the socket joints, the little cup joints, actually just loose somewhere in the packaging, or even worse, you've dropped them on the floor somewhere. But this is what Futures End Batman looks like. The one side's the Cape Crusader. Nice looking head sculpt there. And sort of just molded into the side of his face, on the back of his face, is actually a really interesting Joker. I love the look of this Joker. I always say this with the DC Multiverse stuff. Sure, it's nice to tie into specific comic stories, but I would like to also see at some point McFarlane Toys just do classic characters. Just a classic looking Joker, a classic looking Batman, a classic looking Superman. I mean, you get the idea. If they ever were to do just a classic looking Joker, I think this one fits the bill nicely. It would really give them also the opportunity to just simply reuse the mold that's already there. And just, if anything, retool the head slightly. You add some ears onto this, you pluck this off and put it onto a Joker's body. And that definitely would have been one of the better Jokers. For a classic looking Joker, something I really strongly feel like they should release down the road. Again, you got the half and half treatment, so the front half is Batman, the back half is Joker. All super, super awesome. And of course, you can kind of see the inner workings, the mechanics of how the figure would work, and he has all the articulation that one would necessarily need. But again, it's not much of a threat right now because we really don't have any arms, we don't have any legs. That will certainly change in upcoming videos, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to put that to the side. And also, make sure we put these also to the side as well. I don't want to lose those. Then for the other things that come included with Batman Beyond, he comes with a bunch of swappable hands. I really say a bunch like I'm playing it up. He actually comes with only just one other pair of hands. These were actually the hands that came with the figure when I took them out of the packaging. I have already taken the liberty of swapping out the hands so he can actually carry around the Batarangs. But he sort of has like these more gestured clawing hands. I kind of like this hand right here. It's quite prickly actually when you're running your finger across it. Really like the look of these hands. But of course, if you wanted to have him holding the next accessories we're about to have a look at, it's really best to change the hands out. Figure comes included with 2 Batarangs. They are once again still falling into the problem of thick accessories. Like, just again, look how thick that had to be. Why did it have to be so thick? It almost looks like a little small spaceship. But yeah, I think like these accessories are way too big. One accessory that came included with the original Batman Beyond figure was this one right here, which actually was just closer to resembling his emblem that's on the front of his chest. This at least gives you something a little bit more closer to the cartoon. So I really like the look of those. Yes, full disclosure, I've already taken the liberty of changing out the hands. The other hands he also comes included with are these gripping hands on both sides. And you can take, of course, the Batarangs and fit those into his hands. You know, at least any fault I may find with the fact that they are using thicker accessories. The accessories actually, because they're thicker, fit well better off in his hands. Although they do sit still a little loose, you can certainly have Batman Beyond. Kind of also looks like he's just holding it out. Like, I don't know, somebody just spit on them or something. But yeah, you can actually at least have him holding the Batarangs in his hands. Still wish that they weren't as thick, though, as what they are. The one thing, unfortunately, this figure also doesn't come included with either, and going back to the tickle trunk of all the other things that came included with the other Batman Beyond, he doesn't come with the thrusters, the little thrusters that would have gone onto the bottoms of his feet. I just want to bring these ones in, as they were the ones that came included with the original Batman Beyond. They plug in the same way, so really if you already have that other Batman Beyond, you can easily just plug those onto the bottom. But unfortunately, omitting the fact that he doesn't come included with a flight stand, I mean, you can't really just stand him on the display stand if he's got these back thrusters coming out from the bottoms of his heels. Maybe one of the reasons why they just decided not to put them there in the first place. Doing a quick comparison between the two, and I have to say rather quick because, I mean, literally it's just the same figure side to side. This is the newer one for the Futures End Batman. This is what the original Terry McGinnis would have looked like. And still yet, there was that variant released that they never picked up. Never picked it up because I think it's basically this figure right here. They have literally, I think, just reused the same figure and repackaged it again, in this case, with the Futures End Batman torso. It actually did benefit me, the fact that I didn't pick this figure up, because had I done that, I would have ultimately just had 2 of the same figure, because I don't think, not having that other one in front of me, that they've done anything at all to change this one versus the original one that we got before. Body-wise, exactly the same. It seems like the torsos, the wings, and even the utility belt all appear to be identical between the 2 figures. So it's just more of a case of whether you like this look of Batman Beyond, or you like this one. I like this one a lot more because it looks more like the cartoon. Wings are also something that are identical to the figure, so we'll spin those to the back as well. I'm just going to put this figure to the side because, again, we're just carbon copying the exact same feature. These wings are plugged right in the middle here, and they're overlapping one another, and you just swing these out like that. Bit tight to swing them out the first time, and then there's also little slots on either side that you can then take the little spikes that stick out from his gauntlets, and you can hook them onto the inside of the wings. Just enough. I mean, it's just enough that actually it looks like he's actually got the wings underneath them, kind of like he did in the cartoon. And again, you can do the exact same thing on the other side as well. Just take those. They're soft enough, at least, of plastic. In fact, you can kind of see the way I'm wiggling this back and forth. Yeah, I mean, you can have it displayed like that. But once again, going back to the same thing I mentioned earlier, no flight stand. Really wish this figure could have come included with a flight stand. That being said, though, let's go ahead and just detach the wings. Swing those back down, sort of as you are swinging them too. I couldn't help but notice there's a bit of like a ratchet joint. It could be just the way that the joint is all kind of plugged in place. And again, you can kind of just collapse the wings and have them sitting behind Batman's body here. I like to bring them out just enough so they're actually not sticking, like little points sticking out on either side. As for the rest of his body, I guess we could kind of go back quickly to his head sculpt. More just, again, personal preference than anything else. This one does have the mouth guard in place. So he's fully really a self-contained face. He doesn't have an actually moving mouth. I guess one last time just to kind of bring in the other one so you guys can see. Ear-wise, if you can call those ears, appear to be the same. Sculpting on the side of the face is similar as well. And it also looks like the eyes are almost identical too. So it's really just a change of face, the change of the lower mouth at least. Still like this one, to be honest. The coloring of the red appears to be also the same on the emblem. A nice shinier red paint that they've used really does make up what little there is in the way of paint. Yeah, they did put some paint there also in the utility belt. Kind of more of a darker coloring of almost more of a pink than a red, really. And then they've actually put little pockets there on the sides done in silver. It's a nice looking utility belt. I'm not going to find really any fault with it. Like the figure as a whole looks sculpted well. He does also have little tab points here too, by the way. So you can either really attach the wings in two different ways. Something I should have probably mentioned when we were having the wings out. You can either attach them by the little hook here, or again, there's a little connecting tab on the back. Some may actually prefer to attach them this way. I kind of like actually having them the other way myself. Again, there's a little hook right there. Again, I really should have done this earlier, but just reminded me when I looked at the forearms that, yeah, you can attach them this way as well. Either way, either way. All those steps involved, only then just to fold the wings back up again. There we go. As for the rest of the body, he's very more of a leaner, thinner looking Batman. Let's go ahead and just fix those wings. The molding is good. Again, it's just really relying on just the black plastic. At least some of the areas like the arms, the gauntlets here, both the back tab and the little side spikes here are more of a shinier black paint that they've used. So at least that helps to break it up so it's not just all the same matte black. Again, it's more just a really slender looking build on Batman's body. Boy, that's a whole lot of bees. Really like the look of the leaner looking legs, very muscular down below. And he's got actually more pointed shoes, pointed boots, similar to what the original Batman Beyond would have had. Literally, it's just an exact carbon copy to the original Batman Beyond, just short of just changing out the head sculpt. Speaking of the head sculpt, I guess that would be the best place to start when it comes to the figure's articulation. Head rotates all the way around like the original one. Head looks up, head looks down. Head also looks back and forth as well. As for the arms do come out. There's those little cup joints, little socketed cups that would have sat inside Future End's Batman. Just make sure, again, you don't lose those. Arms rotate all the way around. Figure has a bicep swivel. Oops, let's just bring that down. Figure has a bicep swivel. Figure has double hinges on his elbows. And figure also has a swivel in hands, rotating out those all the way around. Upper torso, as you could imagine, would have a ball joint. And if you could believe it as well, he also has a lower torso ball joint that's just sitting behind the utility belt. Like hinge out. And I don't know if you can actually hear that or not. Why do I always draw everyone's attention to the crotch of the figure? You hear that? He actually has ratcheted joints. A little harder to see because everything is so dark and plastic. He does have ratcheted joints. Bring the legs forward. You can bring the legs back. There is really no swivel at the top there where it would have been attached to the ball joint. Double hinge on the knee. And when it comes to his feet, of course, not only do you have the forward and back action, but you also have the back and forth ankle pivot action. He does also have toe articulation. One last quick look at the undersoles of his feet. Nice additional sculpting that they put in there. But once again, they didn't incorporate the thrusters that came included with the original Batman Beyond. Having not picked up that variant Batman Beyond, I couldn't really tell you whether that figure would have included all the same accessories. I gotta believe it would have. I gotta believe it would have had the same accessories as that Batman Beyond with the mouth visible. That was the one that I ended up picking up. And really, again, no desired interest, really. I mean, look at Lady Luck here. No desired interest to really get the other Batman Beyond because I said to myself, well, this one looks more like the cartoon. I'm just going to stick with this one. McFarlane Toys decided to throw a bit of a curveball and simply just re-release the figure again. To my knowledge, at least, only by going by my own memory of the figure, it looks like the same one that we got with the variant release, stripping away some of the accessories that would have come included with the mouth face of Batman Beyond. That's a weird way to describing it. And then stripped away some of the accessories. Like it doesn't come included with the emblem Batarang, which actually is no disappointment there. I think he gets better Batarangs with this release. Doesn't come included with the thruster flames underneath his feet. And I think the other one also came included with a flight stand. Correct me if I'm wrong. One thing they did at least do here to make you, of course, want to buy this one if you didn't really have invested interest in the first place is that they did give you at least the torso piece. Just bringing him in right now. The starting point, where we're going to start things off when it comes to this review, are the several reviews that we're about to do on Future End's Batman. I really, again, like the look of that one. Looking forward to putting that guy together. Is this one worth picking up if you already have the Batman Beyond? It's just, again, more a matter of preference than anything else. For me, I would have been just fine to stick with the original Batman Beyond and kind of, again, bit disappointed that I didn't pick up the other one, knowing I didn't want it. And then I'm essentially just picking this figure up again anyways, getting it just for the part that comes for the Futures End Batman. Oh, McFarlane Toys, always finding a way to get in those variants, even if the collectors initially don't want them. When it comes to collecting figures, Build-A-Figure waves are always a real tricky thing, because when you find yourself picking up one or two characters of the ones that you're really the most invested in, don't you just find yourself saying, well, you know, I'm halfway through this anyways. I might as well just buy the other two figures. In this case, there's 4 figures, so I'm going to buy the other 2 figures, so at least I can say I've completed Futures and Batman. It's sort of like the equivalent of Elaine in Seinfeld. She's got that free sub card. She knows she's not enjoying the subs, but she continues to buy them because at least there's a goal in sight where she can get herself a free sub of subs she wasn't enjoying in the first place. And it's a really bad analogy, but it's sort of along the same lines when it comes to Build-A-Figure waves. Now, I don't mind generally buying figures that are exclusive to waves. What I mean by that is you have no other way to buy them any other time. I have more of a miffed time when it comes to buying a Batman Beyond that I initially passed on in the first place because I really didn't like the look of the variants. I mean, it's a nice looking Batman Beyond if you like Batman Beyond with a mouth guard. I prefer Terry myself to have a visible mouth. And that was the whole reasoning why I never bought the variant in the first place. But then to have to buy this figure again, just to get a Build-A-Figure piece to build Futures and Batman, because my goal in sight is not a free sub. My goal in sight is to actually build an really neat looking Futures and Batman / Joker. That's what I'm really the most interested in. So I don't mind buying Batman Beyond. I think I would probably be even more miffed if I did end up buying that variant, just saying to myself, okay, well, I saw it in a store. It was a good price. To be fair, I did like that other Batman Beyond. Okay, well, why not? I'll buy it. Only then to realize they just have double dipped the figure again and releasing it in this set. Now, I don't have as much the issue, but I gotta imagine some people out there might be burned to the idea that I just finished buying this Batman Beyond and now I'm being sold on the idea of buying it again. It's just, again, like the sub card in Seinfeld. Why am I buying this Batman Beyond? Oh, it's so I can get the free, it's essentially free, Futures and Batman, which is, again, my goal at the end of all of this. It's a nice looking Batman Beyond, to be fair. The original one has had accessories that unfortunately were stripped away when it came to this release. So like this one does have things that the original one didn't have and vice versa. The original Batman Beyond that had the mouth guard had the flight stand. Gone. It also had the emblem, Batarang. Gone, but not disappointed that it's gone. Instead, at least we get more cartoon accurate Batarangs. So I like that this one does have it. But again, the idea that we already have this figure, why are we using this as the example of including it in a wave where if you already have that figure, you're buying it again? It's like getting a free sub in Seinfeld. Those subs got to be pretty lousy, though. I'm quite happy with subs anywhere I go. I've been hard-pressed to find a really lousy sub. Have you ever had a lousy sub? Let me know down below in the comments section. You don't have to really tell me the name of the company. I don't want to get bad publicity out there for the sub place. But have you ever had a really lousy sub? Let me know down below in the comments section what was wrong with the sub. That's your video question for today. And hey, now, if you are enjoying the content that you're seeing, have you ever had also, I'm going to throw this out here as well to the viewing audience, lousy sub? Let me know down below in the comment section. But have you ever had also a free card where you have to buy X number of things and at the very end, a goal in sight, you got something free? What was it? Let me know down below in the comment section. I think when I was a little bit younger, I had a free pizza of the month card. You didn't have to get it exactly on every month. You get it, I think, anytime you wanted to. But at the very end, I think you got yourself a free sub. I think that's something what it was. Like free sub, free coffee. Those are usually the 2 things that I get for free after I've accumulated so many stamps or stickers. That's another video question for you guys. Hey, now, if you are enjoying the content that you're seeing, like the fact that we compared Build-A-Figure figures to free subs from Seinfeld, make sure you hit this video, first of all, with a like. If you are enjoying, of course, the content that you're seeing, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell notification and keep, yes, the peepers peeled. While we have finished looking at duplicate Batman Beyond, because we already got this figure before, stay tuned, because there are also going to be the reviews of the other figures that make up this wave. And along the ways, we will be getting closer to that free sub as we are going to be building Futures and Batman. Really looking forward to that. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.